What do I mean by that? See, there are certain numbers over here which are very clear. The global AI market projected to reach 1.8 trillion by 2030. Now, let me explain this India's AI adoption. 23% has already adopted, and 73% is planned to uh, expand into AI. Just give me 1 minute. I'll just, yeah, now it's better. Let me tell you about the India's AI adoption. BFSI, approximately 70% has already adopted AI in fraud detection, in personalized banking, and in predictive analytics. Pharma and healthcare, 52% of the companies have already adopted AI in diagnostics, telemedicine, and we are all recipients of it. We are all customers of it. When we talk about retail and e-commerce, 45% of the companies have adopted AI in customer segmentation, inventory management. Manufacturing, 28%. In India, I'm talking about. Infrastructure and transport, around 22%. Media and entertainment, 10 to 12%. And you think about globally, technology services, cybersecurity, cloud computing, automobiles, right? So, and that's obviously coming to India with that kind of adoption. And the bigger part is 97% of the leaders see positive ROI from AI investments. So that's the kind of impact we are talking about for business leaders. So to begin with, I'm giving you a macro level view, macro, and then I will bring it down to fresh MBA graduates. But you got to understand that most of the placements in India, from tier 1 college to tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 colleges for BBA, MBA, and PGDM typically happens in these sectors, which are, I told you just now, BFSI, pharma and healthcare, retail and e-commerce. Then there is infrastructure and transport and agriculture, agri-tech as we talk about, media, entertainment. So anyway, these are the top 5, 6 industries where most of the students eventually get placed. And if these sectors are adopting AI, then it becomes very, very important as a fresh MBA graduate to understand AI in our management education. How do we do that? Let me explain that to you a bit more. Let me go to the next slide. So before I explain that AI, how to implement AI in management education and how do students learn, I must talk about you. AI leadership is broken down into 3 parts: strategic, ethical, and change management. When you talk about strategic, what do you understand? That how do you use AI with your business goals? For example, today you have chat bots whenever you go to a certain website. That is basically aligning AI to your business goal of reducing the cost by not having customer support people, but having a chatbot, AI trained chatbot. When you talk about ethical stewardship, that is responsible AI deployment, which is lot of work is happening over there. With AI, we also talk about data privacy, cyber security, right? So when we talk about responsible AI, it is important that when you deploy AI, it is important that the companies for that particular product or service be very transparent to the user, to the customers, that your data is used for genuine purposes. And that is why it is very important that we understand what is ethics and governance policies while you deploy AI. Very important aspect. In my opinion, the subject of business ethics, which is generally considered boring by the students, is much more important today because of the application of AI, or AI being the absolute core today. It has become very much important and much more, I would say, responsible as a subject. In our school days, as we used to say, the history, civics, and geography, typically civics is kind of boring, but that's typically is the way we live our life, if you understand that way, right? And then the change management, how you used to drive your business. So a CEO, how the CEO used to think for his or her business. And as a fresh graduate, how do you think you want to move ahead in your career is going to be different today, because for you, for anyone, when I say for anyone, when I say CEO, or for a fresh graduate, or for a middle management, 30 to 40% of the work is already being done, in fact, sometimes more, by AI generated aspects or AI generated tools. Then how do you add value to your work is something that we have to keep thinking. And that's why, once again, I repeat, change management, organizational behavior, OD, are the very, very important subjects today, which are typically considered boring, but they are very important concepts today. It's like life has come a full circle. Because of AI, because of the technology intervention at the core, these subjects of ethics, organizational behavior, change management have become absolutely necessary for anyone to understand the frameworks, not the frameworks which were applied 10 years before, but the frameworks have changed. We must learn the new frameworks so that we are absolutely ready for this AI enabled world. To go deeper into it, just to give you a high level real world applications of AI, Amazon, 2.5 billion profit. They are saving 670 million USD. Why? AI GPU optimization. What is GPU? It's a graphic processing unit optimization. Goldman Sachs is doing AI assistants driving productivity. Right? I've just given you a couple of examples over here, but you and I both know every day the kind of apps that we use, the kind of events that we are seeing around us are all AI enabled. So what are the challenges? So first, if we know the challenges in the application of AI leadership, then we can figure out the ways we can apply AI leadership, or we can learn the AI part, right? So these are some of the challenges that I have felt over these years, and that's how I'm kind of working with the organizations and management institutes to come out with the solutions that take care of these challenges. First is obviously the ethical concerns, right? How are you training the AI model? How are you training your machine learning models? And obviously, the way you train it, the far better it becomes in terms of its productivity and everything. So ethical concerns are there, right? Then is the data privacy, and that's why the concepts of fraud detection, cybersecurity, and all those things are absolutely important and important today. Then obviously the skill gaps. A lot of times we feel that AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning is all about for technical people, BTech, BCA, BCS, MCA people. How do we learn in management education AI? Do we need to learn coding? Do we need to learn technical stuff? I'll give answer to that as I go to the next slide. But that's the skill gap that we typically see, right? And obviously, there is a change resistance. Whenever there is a change, there is a resistance, right? I hope all of you remember the conversation of Mr. Mukesh Ambani and Yuan Henson, who is the CEO of NVIDIA. And the conversation was, and as he said, that I think one of the famous quotes, I believe, of the last 5, 6 years has become this quote when he said this in that particular conversation at BKC, when he said that AI will not take the job. A person who is not using AI will lose his job to a person who is using AI. It's very, it seems like a very interesting statement, but it has a wide implications of it. Think of it like this. Today, we are sitting in a classroom. Whether you are a tier 1 college or a tier 4 college, doesn't matter. You're using Excel. Now, When you use Excel, when I interact with students a lot, they say, sir, we know Excel. The moment I ask you at what level of Excel, the typical answer is basics. Now, the point over there is industry has moved beyond the concept of basic, intermediate, and advanced. Industry does, when industry asks you this question, how much you know Excel, the answer is not basic, mid, intermediate, or advanced. Advanced you anyway can't know because you have never worked in the industry. But the industry wants an answer that I am able to apply AI in Excel. That's the answer that industry is looking. Now think over it very categorically. When industry asks that how much you know Excel, it's not about how much you know, as I said, basic, medium, or intermediate, because basic, intermediate, and advanced, because those are old times. Your answer needs to be, sir, I know Excel to the extent where I can apply AI in Excel and get the answer of 167 functions in 3 minutes. Now that's where an industry is like, you are AI ready, you are adaptable, you know how to apply AI, so come and join my company, even if you are a fresher or your experience doesn't matter. So it's this is at the end of the day, I've got it to a very ground level reality. This is what it is. And yes, these are the challenges while you want to apply AI in your day-to-day work and eventually move into a leadership role, right? So how do we cater to these challenges? Um, Now, these are the skills which are required, and for these are the skills that will eventually take care of the challenges. Number one, data literacy. What do I mean by that? So one of the key things in your learning as a management student, whether you are a BBA, whether you are a MBA, or whether you are a PGDM, right? One of the key things is data analysis. I am not using the word data analytics. I am using the word data analysis, because data analytics is the next step to data analysis. So business data analysis is a very important subject and a skill that you must gather through real world applications, right? Data analysis. How do you analyze the data of Google? How do you analyze data of Meta? How do you analyze data? A simple spreadsheet. Analysis means you need to understand business. Analysis means you need to understand and ask the right kind of questions, which in today's time we call it prompt. You need to have the right prompt to ask the right question so that you get the right answer. And once you get the answer, you should be able to convey that in a storytelling format, which requires practice. See, at the end of the day, whether you're using a chat GPT, whether you're using Copilot, whether you're using a Perplexity, the kind of tools, I can tell you 40 tools right now. But the point over there is the tools will give you an answer. From that answer, how do you express yourself? One thing you must remember, that the data analysis, the data, however complex the data is, analysis of the data will definitely be done by a tool when you ask the right kind of question or prompt. But once that you get the answer, how do you present that data is very, very important, because that part of creativity, human element cannot be disregarded. Human intervention cannot be stopped. And that's very important. The second point is cross-functional collaboration. How does a finance person understands a marketing thought process? How does a marketing thought process understand the operations of a business? We cannot work in silos today. Excuse me. When I'm taking an interview of a person, a marketing person must understand the tools which are related to the marketing, where his or her efficiency will improve by 40 to 50%. On the other hand, a marketing person must understand the finance, operations, and the human resources involved in building that content, in building that product, or delivering that service. Cross-functional collaboration, which means only one thing. When you are doing a management education, BBA, MBA, or PGDM, you will learn business by being close to the business. As they say, you learn cycle only by practicing a cycle ride. You just can't learn a cycle by reading about it in YouTube. You can learn business, you can do data analysis only when you are close to a business. Either you are running your own business, or you are close to a business by going through the case studies, by going through simulations, and so forth. Continuous learning, very important. Now, how do I apply AI to my, for example, a Google data? How do I apply AI to a random website? Now that's your continuous learning. We must learn about the fundamentals of Gen AI. We must learn about how does an LLM work. Now I am talking with respect to a management student again and again. I didn't ask you to learn coding. I didn't ask you to learn Python. But what I'm asking you to do is, how does an LLM work? How does an LLM generate information when you're using a chat GPT or whether you're using a copilot? Because that will derive or that will drive you to think about that, okay, this is how my marketing operation can be an AI enabled, or I can improve my efficiency by using this kind of prompt. And that's why continuous learning is very important, and not to deny the ethical decision making, very, very important. In today's time of data privacy, in today's time of generative AI, where everything, whether it is photos, music, content, text, everything is generated by the computer GPUs, it becomes very important that we definitely follow the ethics, the governance, and all related parts of it. So these are some essential skills which during an interview of a fresh MBA graduate, if you highlight, then you are different than millions of graduates who are graduating every year without the AI perspective. Believe me or not, matter of 1 or 2 years, if you graduate or do a postgraduate without the skills that I'm talking about on this slide, you anyway are redundant. And I think the numbers already show that. Already 70% of BFSI are adopting AI. Just believe in another 2 years where this number will go, right? Okay, let's go to the next slide. I have spoken about some of the AI tools for marketing, right? I don't know how many of you know about these tools, or even if you know about how many of you have used these tools, I don't know. But these are some of the tools which many of the top colleges in India teach through simulation, then through feedback mechanism. Then once the data is gathered from these tools, then it is also presented by that particular participant using a storytelling format. So these are some of the AI tools for marketing. Some of them are for copywriting, some of them are CRM. You can always make a note of it. These are the tools for finance in terms of knowledge management, in terms of market intelligence reports, some of the commonly used tools. There are a few more tools, but I just wanted to give you a high level view. These are the tools for HR, right? So if you put that, if we have worked on these tools or we have seen simulations in these tools in your CV, that is where the differentiation will start coming. As an organization, as an institute, as an organization, how do we inculcate AI leadership in the curriculum? How do we inculcate this in the entire curriculum? I understand university follows a certain curriculum. Having worked with multiple universities in last so many years, I understand that university has certain criteria, and obviously as a new NEP policy and as per NAC and NBA, those criteria have to be met. And with that, we have to include this AI perspective. Some of my thoughts on this, how do we do that, is what I have written over here. Now, in order to build an AI leadership, there is a toolkit, right? For a BBA, for a PGDM, and for an MBA grad, especially in the first semester, semester before people move out for their internship, and after coming back also, we can do this kind of toolkit integration, where week 1 and 2 will be more about the foundations of AI. Then how do we integrate AI in business strategy across multiple sectors? So business strategy is a horizontal, where vertically there are multiple sectors like healthcare, BFSI, retail, e-commerce, manufacturing, and we can, real estate, for example, and we can do that using simulations and everything. Then the practical AI tools. The 2 weeks typically go for the practical AI tools, how to implement, how to, when you apply a certain AI tool, how do you do that? Either in the form of an individual project or group projects. Then there are ethics and challenges that has to be discussed. What are the challenges faced during a certain problem statement and everything? And then we start practicing these things through simulation and feedback. So once a simulation project is given as a form of a group project or as a form of a individual project, then it has to be given a feedback, and then it has to be presented in the form of a storytelling. So a person's ability to communicate with the help of a story. See, today communication is not about whether you know English or Hindi or any other language. Today communication is all about how engaging is your content. If you are hearing me and if you are engaged into this webinar, there is a certain story that I'm talking about. There is a certain framework that I'm using and delivering that content. So which means it can be learned. It can be practiced and learned and make it more sharper. That's what it's all about, storytelling. Today, when industry talks about communication, it tells you about storytelling. And is there a method to learn storytelling? The answer is yes. Stories are always dealt with characters. Stories are always dealt with characters that create lasting impressions. Today, AI tools, case studies, simulations, group projects, then gamification. These are the terms through which you are able to build your story and narrate that. And that's what you need to learn in a management organization before you enter an organization for your career. Finally, the conclusion and call to action. This is my last slide, and I then open up for question and answers. I think we need to embrace AI as a leadership potential and leadership essential. I think there is a potentiality. I think the word potential is kind of over now. It is an essentiality. We need to embrace AI. We can't just move out of it. Not only in terms of personal level consumption, but also as an organization and at an institute level. Um, it's important to do multiple workshops and simulations. Very, very important. It's very important to have workshops and simulations in the curriculum so that whatever I've told you as a toolkit can be applied. We need to encourage critical thinking. No, it's not about coming to the class, seeing a PPT and going out and just do random assignments by using chat GPT. Unless you follow what is critical thinking, the chat GPT gives you an answer and you start thinking about it. You start thinking about better prompts. You start thinking about analyzing a business as if it's your own business. Unless we encourage critical thinking and storytelling attributes, we are fundamentally not building the right mindset, which is in an AI enabled economy. And finally, putting it across, let's keep it very accessible. Today, the technical jargons are all gone. Today, in the world of AI, everything is very simple. I think we are coming back to again the KISS formula: keep it simple and sweet, right? And that's how it is. Keep it simple in your mindset. A business is run by revenue. A business is run by optimizing the cost. A business is run by a great product or a great service. It's as simple as that. And that's what AI, so AI is making our life simpler, and that's why the thoughts have to be also simpler, because that is what human touch is all about. We connect with things which are more human. We connect with things which are in this technology world. We connect with things which are filled with emotions, and that's what MBA, PGDM, BBA graduates must be trained for. I think that's how where I see the AI is taking ahead. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for all of us to embrace in the right mindset, so that we can not only build ourselves but build the society and nation in general. Thank you so much. My name is Rohit Ghosh. This is my contact details. I must thank you over here to all the participants. And before I open the forum for questions, all the participants over here, I must thank you for your patient hearing. This is a wide topic. I can keep on talking about it for hours, but I think it's important to give you that kind of framework and mindset which is required today. So if you can at least take 1% of it and implement in your ecosystem, I think that would be wonderful. I now open the session for question and answer. Happy to answer any kind of questions that you have. So there is a form also. I think please fill the form. Those who fill the form will also get the certificate. So please make sure that you fill the form. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Happy to connect with you separately if you have any other questions and want to discuss with me in detail. But yeah, right now, if you have any questions, we have time. I'm happy to answer. Please put that questions in the chat box. Any questions, guys, over here? There are more than 80 plus people I can see over here. Any questions? Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your kind words. If you don't have any questions, maybe one word you can write in the chat box that you are taking away from today's session. One word that has hit your mind as a part of today's learning. Can I get that as a kind of my feedback of what have you learned today? One word that comes to your mind when you talk about today's session? It can be anything, any example, anything that comes to your mind. Can we have that from all the people over here? Quickly, one word. What's one word that comes to your mind? Thank you, sir, is 3 words. No, but jokes apart. But any one word from the session, you're learning that you want to take away. If I have to ask you, what's your learning? Thank you once again, Pravita, Shailesh, and thank you all for sharing your kind words. But let me know if you have any one word that comes to your mind before you leave the session. Thank you. Leadership through AI. Rashmi, 3 words. Maybe I'll take one word. Thank you for sharing that, though.
Thank you, sir. I'm ending the meeting.
Sure. Thank you so much for everyone who has joined the session. Great interacting with you. And thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your wonderful session. And I think there is one question, sir. Curious about AI and so excited to know its user-friendly uses and other hidden ways for more effective work. So it's a feedback, I think, sir.
Yeah, not the question, but the feedback.
Not
Yeah.
the question, yeah. So
Yeah.
everybody is happy about the session, and thank you so much, sir, for a wonderful session.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Madam, I'm ending this meeting.